Wow. That's if if the last three episodes of WandaVision are this good, yeah, this show may actually get like a perfect score. Yeah, let's break down this episode 6 of WandaVision. So the episode starts out with, of course, the sitcom theme, and this time I thought it was gonna be Full House, but we've kind of jumped into late 90s, 2000s, and now we're in Malcolm in the Middle. And I honestly loved this episode. This is probably my favorite one so far because I feel like with the boys, Tommy and Billy, now that we have Pietro as the uncle, we have Wanda and Vision. I just think the way they are able to kind of reenact and give us that same kind of look and feel and vibe of Malcolm in the Middle, it just works. And I honestly feel like if a show was told by the boys' perspectives and had these characters in there amongst other Marvel characters they come in contact with, I would honestly like to watch this for multiple seasons. I just loved it that much. And I thought that from the opening, just about the whole episode, it just worked. It just worked for me. Let me comment what you think about the Malcolm in the Middle theme, and what do you think your favorite sitcom has been so far? I mean, before I thought it may have been maybe the previous, no, I think Bewitched was probably my favorite one, but so far Malcolm in the Middle has beat that one out, and I honestly would say I would love to have a Malcolm in the Middle WandaVision show. So maybe after all this, they can come back and like give us more of this. Next, let's talk about the Halloween costumes. So their Halloween costumes were awesome. I know they seem kind of like basic, you know, obviously Vision's just wearing yellow shorts and it's nothing like too fancy, but what I liked is that we're basically getting as close as we're ever going to get to comic book accurate, you know, versions of these characters. So Wanda, Vision, even Pietro when he turns into, you know, the traditional Quicksilver outfit, even with the hair. And of course we have Wicked and Speed. Speed not so much until he actually like, you know, obtains his powers, but you know, for the most part, we get comic book accurate versions of these characters. Now, many hope that Wanda's headpiece will live on to some degree after this, you know, even into the multiverse saga. So we'll have to wait and see. But it'd be nice if we had some like new version of it that did carry over, because I do think it kind of gives her some type of like, I don't know how to say it, more of like a distinguished look. It's like, you know, not like take me seriously, but you know, dang, that headpiece looks good. She's got, you know, we want to mess with her. All right, so let's talk about Vision's mission. So at the very beginning of the episode, Vision decides he's not going to go trick-or-treat with the kids or Wanda, and he is going to basically go patrol, is what he says. Now, we know from the episode that Herb is not aware that Vision is patrolling with him, which gets Wanda, you know, questionable. Like, wonder what he's doing. But we all know what Vision's doing. He's trying to figure out what the heck is going on in this place and what Wanda's up to. So he basically is going to try to find, you know, where these kids are, as far as like, there's all these kids all of a sudden, where they come from. Before, there were only our kids. Now there's all these kids. Is everybody, you know, a part of this? So we kind of like just traveling to the outskirts to figure out how far does this go? How far does Wanda's reach actually go? Now we learn that you can't go past Ellis Avenue, and so we know that Vision eventually comes to Agnes, who is stuck in a car at Ellis Avenue, and seems like she wants to drive past it or leave past it, and of course she can't because of Wanda. And it's here that Agnes basically tells Vision that he is dead. He basically does his little, you know, mind touch and take Agnes out of the trance, and you know, it kind of still insinuates that maybe she was dead and now she's not dead anymore. We still don't know who she is or Dottie. Where did Dottie go? We don't know what happened to them, but we do know that Agnes is aware that Wanda is in control and something has been going on. So I feel like in the next couple episodes, we're going to figure out who exactly these people are. I don't know if she's going to be Agatha Harkness, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. It seems kind of weird that a witch would be under the control if it is Mephisto or something, but you know, you never know. But we now know that Vision is aware of what's going on, and that causes him to basically put her back the way she was and let her go on her merry way under the Wanda's trance. And you know, now we know that Vision is trying to escape but can't, because he basically is only alive in Wanda's mind, which is really sad, because there, for a second there, we thought we were going to have to see him die again, and I didn't want to do that. That was just so, I didn't want to do that. It was sad enough the second time. Yeah, first and second time. So I don't want to see that for a third time. And we'll get more of that later on in this review. So is Pietro really Pietro? That's the main question, because, you know, from the way this episode is structured out, it's like, yeah, he's her brother, he's the uncle of her boys, I mean, he's great, let's keep him around. But he's saying stuff that just kind of is like, kind of like a poke, you know, kind of like just like pop, you know, pushing those buttons, you know, and he finally makes a comment about how, you know, Wanda can't kill Vision twice because he's already dead, and that's just more like, you know, ticks her off and she flings him away. So I think Wanda is starting to slowly see that Pietro may not actually be Pietro, because why would he be saying such things knowing that she cares so much about this guy? her husband, so why would you do that? He does also mention hell a lot, and I noticed that he was talking about demon spawn, so there's me to think that he may be Mephisto, and that he's just trying to get closer to the boys. That way he can later capture them, reacquire them, whatever he plans on doing. We haven't got that far in to know for sure who he is, but a lot of us are suspectful that he may not be who he says he is. All right, now this has been a big topic of discussion, the commercial, the Yo Magic yogurt commercial. So obviously this is a play off of Go-Gurt, or just any Yo Play, Dannon commercial. And we obviously have this boy who's like really hungry on an island by himself, and a shark comes about and offers him yogurt. And the strange thing is, the boy is so weak he can't even peel the wrapper off the yogurt, so he basically shrivels up and dies. He starves and dies. Very morbid for a Disney show, I think. That's what got a lot of people caught off guard. We're like, oh, okay. Even if it's in claymation, and even if it's supposed to be kind of geared towards adult and kids, that's still kind of morbid. Just going to put it out there. But I will say that I honestly could not come up with any rhyme or reason as to what this was about. So I cheated just a little bit, and I went and looked online, and I'm going to share this with you guys because you're probably just like me, like, maybe I don't know exactly what this is, or maybe you have a feeling of what it could be. So here are some thoughts from some other viewers. And this is their idea of what exactly this commercial could mean, because in all the show, there's clues and Easter eggs, and the commercials usually mean something. So, there's a Reddit user called Hell Knight X that said, I think it's getting the idea that magic can't bring dead back to life. Wanda is finally starting to cope with the idea that the situation is unsustainable, and that Vision and Pietro are still dead. There's one version. And then there's a YouTuber by the name of VEI80s who wrote in the comment section that, was it only me who thought the shark is supposed to be Mephisto and the kid in the island is supposed to be the kids and the yogurt is their magic soon to be eaten? We know in the comments the devil is going to make them grow so he can eat them. Now I thought this was very interesting because I never would have thought that. So I'm thinking, okay, so the shark's, characteristics are that he's going to plump, I guess that makes sense, plump them up and eat them. And then Pietro's color scheme is kind of that same way like a shark. So it would kind of make sense that could be it. But you know how these things go, a lot of times we theorize and kind of build these things up, and it may not actually be it. So of course we have to wait and see, but I think those are pretty good clues as to possibly what's going on with that commercial. All right, next up, let's talk about Tommy and Billy, or aka Speed and Wiccan. Now I really loved in this episode that we actually got to see them kind of be these characters. We weren't expecting to really see them kind of manifest into their powers and their characters that we know of in the Young Avengers up until they get a little bit older. But it's nice to see that, Wiccan is starting to wear his costume a little bit, and then we see that Speed actually is kind of portraying his uncle, but gains his speed. And we see more of Wiccan using his powers as far as sensing that Vision is trying to go beyond the realm or scope of Wanda's, area, and it's causing him to be harmed. So it's really cool that he's able to sense this and help Wanda, basically rescue Vision. I think as the episodes go on, we will get to see them use more of their powers. And if the thoughts about the commercial are true, they could play a pivotal role in how, this basically leads up into Spider-Man and Doctor Strange 2. All right, let's talk about Team Not Sword. So if you're not familiar from the episode, we have Monica, Jimmy Woo, and Darcy versus the rest of Sword, basically. Everybody's want to know what Hayward's motive is, and I really think that they're trying to use Vision's technology to maybe create multiple Visions and have them be the ones that protect the Earth and galaxy. Not entirely sure, but that's one theory. I know there's a big theory going online that Hayward could possibly be a human version of Ultron. That's possible too. I think that we all know that Ultron, though he may have died in the movies, in the comics, he doesn't necessarily mean he's dead. And he does have ways of coming back because he's basically an AI that can live in technology anywhere. So he is the one that originally created, he is one that is partly responsible for creating Vision. So it's, in all reality, possible that he wants to reclaim what is his or what he thinks is his or get his revenge. And this is one way to do it, is obviously using a human form to, steal his body and maybe make himself back into what he was. So we're not really sure what Hayward's motive is. He could just be a government agent who's just bent on power and just, like the government is now, just, consuming all it can find. But nonetheless, we do have Team Not Sword is what I'm calling them. And we do have where, they're going out to meet a contact. Darcy stays back, but Jimmy Woo and Monica are set out to meet a contact who we don't know who it is yet. But many are speculating it to be Reed Richards. We're not for sure. That's what the spoilers and everything are saying online. And I know some people don't want to hear that, but I'm like, it's everywhere, so it's kind of hard not to know. But that would be kind of cool. Doesn't matter who the actor is. It'd be cool if it's John Krasinski, but this could be the way that they kind of introduce Final Fantasy. Fantastic Four. Yeah, Final Fantasy 2. You do know it's going to be in the MCU. Final Fantasy. Fantastic Four into the MCU, and that would be an interesting way to do it, even if it's just a cameo. you do know something is more to come. But I did like the part that we also know that Monica, because of the time she has been going back and forth in between Wanda's world, it has, kind of transcribed or, combobulated her DNA and her blood. And so it's causing her to possibly have powers, because we know that she's going to be photon and have some type of powers as well. So it's just interesting to see how the MCU is kind of rewriting and retelling comic book lore. And it's just kind of all happening all at once. And a lot of it's happening in this episode, which I just think was great. All right, and last time on the list is Wanda Saves the Day. And the way I say it that way is kind of she saves the day in one aspect, but not the other. So with Wiccan's help, she does sense that Vision has gone beyond her scope and is, needing help. So what does she do? She expands her scope. And so she basically stretches out the boundaries of her world and it sucks in everything in the process. So Vision is good, but in the same process, she basically acquires Sword and turns their operation into a circus, which I thought was very clever. And also acquires Darcy. So now we don't know what's going to happen with Darcy, but I know there's a lot of funny things going on, like, now she was watching the TV show, now she's a part of her favorite sitcom, that kind of thing. Do I think she's any harm? No. I think Wanda on some level knows who the people are that are trying to help and who's not. So, not that I'm never sure she's actually met Darcy, but even if she was, I don't think she would find her as a threat. I do also think because of this, it does show the amount of power she does have and how much control she really is in. And I think that as the episodes go on, we're going to see this power increase. And I think just set off. I don't think we've seen the full scope of her powers yet. I don't think we've seen it. I'm picturing, like a Super Saiyan, like lost, loses control. Like think, I'm really into Dragon Ball Z because like Gohan, for instance, if you're familiar with Dragon Ball Z, Gohan, the younger Saiyan, had as a period of time where he can't control his powers. And so I think that, while she has snippets of powers that she knows that she's able to use. Even Quicksilver or Pietro says in the episode, I like that you're doing this kind of stuff more and more versus just the simple giving people nightmares and, simple lifting and stuff like that stuff. So I think that's alluding to what's to come. And I'm all for it because I want to see Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, be the Scarlet Witch and use all her powers and just kind of like break the MCU. Let's do it. Let's go for it. So if I had to give this episode a rating, by far my favorite, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 because I feel like if the episodes are going just like this, oh man, they're going to get even more intense, even more fun, and I just can't wait. What I also think they should do is after WandaVision is over, they should take all of these clips and just make one long movie because I would totally watch it that way, just from start to finish. I might even do that just before like the last episode, just to kind of get myself refreshed and prepared. But so far, this is my favorite episode, and I'm giving it 4 out of 5 WandaVision symbols. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this episode. Is it your favorite? And what do you think is going to happen in the next episode? And that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you want more like videos like this one, make sure to hit the notification bell. And I'll see you guys next time on the MashUp.